Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Inspired Show, where we inspire you to perform at your highest level, overcome, excel, and exceed. My name is Joe Cohen. I'm your host today, and I have another special guest, Jason Schlesinger, who is actually here to talk to us about what's going on in the marketplace and the economy. He's one of our coaches and mentors at Homeschool by Tariq El Musa. And I had some lovely conversations with him at our recent summit back in April. This guy is so amazing. He actually has an amazing history with lending. He's a commercial lender. He's a residential lender. He also is a coach. He spent some amazing years with Tony Robbins. And I'm very excited to have him on my show today. Welcome in, Jason.
Thank you, Joe. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for driving here all the way from lovely Simi Valley.
Yeah. It was a nice drive, and I'm looking forward to the drive home as well.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll have to get you back on the road here pretty soon. Otherwise, it's going to be 8 o'clock before you get home.
What's a couple of hours with a few thousand cars on the highway.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to LA.
Exactly.
So, Jason, I was really kind of gravitated towards you at the summit back in April because I've been doing a lot of work with mindset. I've been doing a lot of work with just making sure that I'm not letting the circumstances of life get to me. And we had a conversation with one of my team members, Michelle, and the way that you spoke to her, the way that you just looked her in the eyes and just helped her, overcome her, a lot of fear. Right. She was having a ton of fear at that moment. She was kind of like, super high level anxiety, and you were just able to calm her down. And I just kind of sat there in awe and just kind of watched you and how you communicated with her and helped her, kind of really just calculate where she was at. Tell me a little bit about your experience with mindset and helping people overcome, the everyday life.
Well, nothing like a small little question to start us off there.
Yeah.
My story goes back to, I was working with my father in the mortgage business, but was miserable. We grow up in the schools. They teach us. Oops, hit the mic. Okay. They teach us really. The ABCs and things like that on just basics, but they don't really teach us anything about life. And they really don't teach us about our beliefs and our values and things like that. And so, flat out, I was a mess. And my father happened to be a John Wooden fan because we're here in Los Angeles, and he went to UCLA, and a Tony Robbins fan. And so when Tony was coming out, someone came to our office to speak, and I ended up getting a ticket and going. And it was really Tony who taught me a lot about that. And I got involved in his company, went through it as a participant, then went to work for him, and did my own went out and sought other technologies and things like that. I got certified in NLP and some other things, and some great people out there who are doing great work. Donnie Epstein, who's doing great work in energy, got certified in his stuff. So, it's such a privilege, but it's a privilege to be able to know what I know at this point and help people, because there's only so many patterns that people run in their lives. And people often want X and they're at Y and they don't know how to bridge the gap. They always think that it's a strategy, it's something external. And the truth is, it's never external. It's always internal. It's always what we believe, how we're filtering the world, what our experiences have been that really, either prevent us or help us produce the results that we're after. So when you understand those basic things, when people start talking, you can kind of just see the violations. You can see the limitations in what they're saying. So it's easy to ask a question to help them look at what they're saying from a different perspective, which oftentimes opens up opens them up to new possibilities, new pathways, and new abilities to execute on things that they were unable to execute on before.
That's amazing. And so when you did that training, you mentioned NLP, it actually probably enhanced your business because you were able to ask the right questions.
Sure.
Listen, make sure that you were waiting until they were done with their response before you responded.
Yeah, I mean, those are basic communication skills that people could benefit from. Yes, the very most basic thing that you learn in the coaching industry is that nobody else sees the world the way that you do. And when you learn that, that really is an epiphany for you. And, to be perfectly honest, it kind of scared me. It's like I felt all alone in that moment. But then it also got me insanely curious. And so now when I'm meeting someone new, it's always interesting to see how they view the world. And so, you've got to listen if you're going to want to be able to communicate with somebody. If you're, what I've come to understand is everything is relationships. Business is just relationships, and relationships are relationships, and relationships are based on communication. So the better your communication skills, the deeper and the stronger your relationships, the stronger your business. So that's been my experience anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're in this moment of, you said you called it a mess, right? You were kind of like all over the place, probably just like most people when they get into that messy situation. You start scrambling. You start doing things, maybe lashing out, maybe doing things that you're not comfortable with. And so you stepped back. You trusted in where your father was at in his journey, and you're like, I need to retrain myself.
Yeah. Yeah. It actually, I can pinpoint it back to when I, was kind of like my bottom, and that was after Kurt Cobain took his own life. And, it was the mid-90s. I was a young man at that point, and I could resonate. I could appreciate why he did that. And something deep inside me clicked and goes, that's a problem.
Okay.
And I went and sought out traditional therapy, and it really didn't work for me. It was taking too long. I didn't. And then when the Tony opportunity happened, going to his event, I had a massive breakthrough. And so then with that, I wanted to see what else he could do. And the deeper I went, the more my life shifted. And I'm grateful because from about 2010 to about 2020, right, through the pandemic, was a ridiculously traumatic period in my life. My brother-in-law got sick with cancer. He beat it. My mom got sick with cancer. She didn't. After that, my older sister had a bout with mental illness and was in and out of jail and in and out of the streets and things like that. And then my father got dementia during that period of time. And then when COVID hit, he got COVID and he passed away. So it was quite the 10 years. And I am so grateful that I had the skills and really the community around me to support me through that time, which is important. Community is so important these days.
It really is. So it's amazing that you told that story, and thank you for sharing that, because I myself have gone through those challenges. Right?
Sorry.
Well, I was full time in mortgage and real estate from 2001 to 2008.
Good times, actually.
Good times,
right?
It was good times until 2008,
right?
And then you have to reshift, right? The thing about it, though, is I had a traumatic childhood, so to speak. My parents weren't together, and when they were together, it was volatile. I'm probably one of the only kids that you would actually hear a story where they begged their parents to get a divorce.
Right. Right.
You know, but
Wise beyond your years.
I know. I tell you, I had to grow up really fast.
Right.
But I never really had like this moment of clarity. I was always just kind of like head down. I don't care what's going to happen. I just got to keep moving forward. I was diagnosed with a kidney disease at the age of 19. Felt like that was a death sentence. So I just kind of did everything I could to help it along. So, because it was just
right.
You at 19, your brain's not fully developed.
Right.
So you're just like, well, I'm gonna die. So let's just go for it.
Right.
Relationships were tarnished. I didn't have really any sense of like having a relationship. Any view of a relationship to me was what my parents had. So
right.
I was like anti-relationship. Probably people watching this show who know me and who know who I was back then, they're like totally agree. Yeah, this guy was freaking, off the wall, right? But I never really had that sense that I was going to try and like, off myself, so to speak. It was just more or less, I just had no filter. I had no governor.
Sure.
It was like pedal to the metal, go for it, right? And it wasn't until probably around 2005, 2004, when I started to kind of like shift my mindset. Nice. And I met my wife in 2004, 2003, and we got married in 2005. And then from there, it was kind of like a whole different mindset. I was just really career focused. And then when I turned, like fast forward, when I turned 40, I kind of like had this like almost like midlife crisis or before midlife crisis, because I wasn't really middle aged.
Right.
And I started going down the therapy route. I started going down the religion route, and I started to try and figure out my way, so to speak. And now I see things from a whole different perspective. And what you said earlier about resonating with what Kurt Cobain went through and all of the things that you experienced in your life through that 10 years, I really leaned into spirituality and mindset. So when I look at things now, I'm grateful for all of the experiences that I have, and I don't hold it against my parents anymore for the lifestyle that I lived. So when you say your community helped you, what was it that really kind of gave you that experience or that feeling?
Well, when I first started on the journey, there was a lot of people in my life who saw the real me, not the, no governor, pedal to the metal type of person that you were expressing that you were at. Like I said, I was not in a great place. And they saw me for who I was and gave me the space and the grace to kind of figure it all out. When you have these challenges, a lot of times, to know me is to know that I love Christmas, right? I just absolutely love that time of year because I love to give. I love giving. I love seeing people light up. It's one of the reasons why I love coaching. Being able to help somebody else and see the transformation in them is, it's fantastic. With that, trouble receiving, right? And so to be able to have people that you can lean on and, are there without judgment is rare. And I'm fortunate to have people like that in my life. But it took a lot of pruning, so to speak, to get me to that place where it's just like, okay, here are these people that I'm hanging out with, bless them on their way. We can't, I can't, this isn't working any longer. And really understanding what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I'm sure that over the course of my life, there are people that have decided that our relationship needs to end because I wasn't exactly the person that I needed to be for them at that time in their journey. So just having people in your world that you can lean on without judgment is rare. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that are holding on to people that don't necessarily serve them.
Yeah.
But they're scared of, we've all heard the cliche, and I hate myself for saying this right now, but the devil we know is better than the devil we don't know.
Yeah.
And people are so afraid to give up what is known to play in the unknown. But that's where life happens. That's where you can create whatever you want, is playing in the unknown. You don't get that. You don't get what you want. You don't create the life that you want or deserve by playing in what you know.
Right.
So
that's amazing. That's an amazing statement. So how did that transpire into your success as a business professional?
What specifically? I
basically
apologize.
all of the mindset, or basically the training that you did through Tony Robbins, the NLP training,
Sure.
and you went through a 10-year period of ups and downs, and I'm sure it impacted your business and things of that nature. So how did all of this come together to help you excel and grow in your business?
Great question. When you can appreciate that the external world, or what we would call our reality, what's going on in life, is really just a reflection of what's going on internally, then you can look at the external and go, okay, I don't like this. I'm going to change this. And with all of that training, coaching first and foremost is about taking personal responsibility, which, you get on social media today, there's zero accountability or personal responsibility, which is a big problem. It may get likes and it may make you some money, but it's going to make you empty and in a ton of emotional pain. Now, not everybody, because everybody's unique. But when you're able to, all that training allowed me to take responsibility for everything that has worked in my life and everything that has not worked, and given me the ability to let go of any ridiculously painful identity that I might take on myself, and not easily, but to find an identity that would allow me to take the actions and behave in the way that I want to, and also help me create the life that I want.
Awesome. That's amazing. So, we're in this stage now, and, I feel like we're kind of both
Right.
going down the same path, right? We're in this stage now where we see things from a different perspective. Me personally, I was kind of explaining to you before we came on the show about all of these little, faux pas that I'm dealing with
Right.
my projects. And, I find myself in a different, just balanced, state.
Sure.
See, because my previous self would be completely panicked. I'd be like overly stressed. I'd be doing, things to, overcompensate really. And now I just kind of take a step back and say, hey, the decisions that I made to get here is it's a learning lesson. It's all something that I've actually kind of visualized for myself. I was actually kind of thinking about that earlier. At one point before I even started getting into house flipping or stepping full time back into real estate, there was a fear of failure, fear of not knowing what to do. And that's why I signed up with Homeschooled, because I just wanted to be in the right room with the right people who were doing it well.
Absolutely.
Right? And so now I'm in this position where, at any given moment, things can change. but I just sit there and say, I'm not afraid of the unknown. And then I go even further and I say, I'm actually meant to be in this position right now for a reason. So then that way I can actually either, learn from it and grow, or help somebody else learn from it and grow.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's where you're at now in your lifestyle. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's been a lot of great teachers, from Tony. Someone I deeply respect as well. I mentioned his name earlier, is Donnie Epstein, and he's been studying energy. And this, he's a little woo-woo for some people. But I really enjoy, him, and he talks about what influences different energies and things like that, and one of them is really understanding that everything is connected. To kind of visualize it, it would be to imagine that there's a huge grid out there that is in front of you, and that everything is connected, whether it be plants, animals, insects, human beings, everything is connected. And the second that you desire something, and I keep hitting this mic, the grid kind of lights up and it starts moving things around, and everything is connected. So I know, before the show, I went and had lunch, and I had a nice conversation with the bartender / waiter, and I was meant to go there and have that conversation with him. I didn't know I was going to have that conversation with him. I didn't know any of that, but I know that as I'm on my journey, my interactions with people along the way are going to help them with their journey, just as other people who don't know me are going to help me with my journey, because everything's connected. Like I said, a little woo-woo. Yeah. Right. But that's kind of where I'm at. And the more I lean into that, the more just absolute magic happens in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like everything is connected. We're all electromagnetic energy. I mean, if you think about it, if you break it down to the molecule, right? The atom is electromagnetic.
Just all atoms.
Right. And so I was even having a little meeting earlier with my team, and I just said, anything that you put out there is going to come back to you.
That's right.
Right. You're gonna gravitate towards things. You're gonna gravitate towards certain people. I even had a little mantra that I wrote in my journal the other morning, and it says, align your. Don't get upset about people that don't align with your energy.
Sure.
Keep moving forward to find the person that aligns with your energy. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we're all, it says we're all connected, right? You were just kind of saying that. So let's kind of circle into the coaching.
Sure.
What is it that you feel with your coaching experience now is the most impactful?
I mean, talk about an open-ended question right there. What's most impactful for coaching? You look around and, I would invite the people who are watching this to just kind of look at the people in their lives and ask them, are they reacting to life, or are they creating in their life, right? And so many people are simply reacting to their circumstances instead of getting out of that reaction and allowing life to create and to be in that creative place to create whatever it is that they're trying to create, whether it's financial abundance or relationships or, whatever experiences, whatever it is that they want. The biggest challenge that I see in society is just people living in reaction.
Yes. Yeah. Living in reaction and being less proactive. I think that, one of the things that I always try to do when I'm about to react is take a step back.
Sure.
Take a deep breath. How would I like to respond to this situation?
Right.
Right. And so you're in there. You're in the trenches with these people. I mean, how many people are you coaching right now?
Enough.
A lot,
Enough,
right?
yes.
And so you see different views, but what's your number one message to the people that you're coaching?
The number one message?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. You can create whatever it is that you want. Whether you believe that in this moment or not, you have the power to create anything. Yeah. And the reason that people don't believe that anything's possible is because of the reaction that they're currently in. Here's something that I think will be a little interesting for your audience. I don't believe in the grind culture.
Okay.
I think it's ridiculous. These people out there saying, take action at whatever cost is completely out of alignment with what it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
If you're in alignment with, if you're trying to create something and you're getting all of this resistance, to try and push through that is just taking out of alignment action. So these people pushing you to do that are pushing you to do things that you aren't supposed to be doing. So when I hear these, roar, don't sleep, take action at all costs, it drives me absolutely insane, right? Because life isn't supposed to be difficult. If it's difficult, you're out of alignment. Get out of the reaction, level yourself up, get yourself back in alignment. If you don't know what that means, look it up, find a coach, reach out to me if you need to, whatever. Yes. Reach out to Joe. He's got this dialed in as well. But, the idea that you're supposed to, just take all of these actions that you hate and somehow that's going to produce a life that you desire at some point is just ridiculous. It's not going to happen. I've taken so many people out of that and into what you would call creation or flow, or any of that. That's where you're going to create what you want. That's where you're going to, I'll put it to you this way, Joe. If creating, let's say, financial results or business results, right, was about effort, then wouldn't Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk have to work billions of times harder than us?
Yeah.
It's physically
inevitable.
impossible.
Yeah.
So it's not about effort. So anybody who's pushing effort upon you is wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I think that, there's difference between massive action and just taking action, right? And I think that, I personally believe in, there's too many people in our industry that kind of just get wrapped into this, study mode. They just want to always over-educate, and they always want to, take the next class, and I'm not quite ready yet to push forward. But I think what you're talking about is just unlimited imbalance, right?
Yes.
Because you're, for me personally, there's a lot of people that say, oh, there's no days off. I actually have a sticker that's on one of my tumblers that says no days off. But what really is no days off? I mean, ultimately, I'm going to go on vacation, and if there's a call that needs to be taken, I'm going to take that call. But I think that for me personally, what I do is every day I wake up, I have a routine. I go through that routine, and I accomplish that routine to help me be a more impactful person and take the. We have our mascot here, yes. Molly. She's amazing. We call her the soul dog because she's Absolutely. Just got such an amazing soul. But I'm not afraid of taking that step to get to where I want to be. So when you say the action, the action mentality, there's a fine line between overaction and just taking action.
When there's a difference between the widget mindset and the creation mindset. And if you're an employee, you're a widget. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but you're a piece of the machinery. You're a cog in the system for this business, and they're going to try and maximize your output. Right. And so a lot of people, that I work with used to be widgets, want to create, and the hardest thing for them to break is that widget mindset about work, because they think it's about output. The creation process is not an output type situation. when you get in alignment with what it is that you desire, with what it is that you want, you will be given opportunities, you will be given inspired actions. Those opportunities and inspired actions are not going to keep you busy 24/7, 365. They're just not. The universe is going to be putting the pieces together behind the scenes, right? I'll give you an analogy that I give with my clients about the vacuum, right? Most people have vacuumed their floor in the last week or in the last month. And I always go, well, you vacuumed your floor. How much ownership do you take in that? And they go, well, 100%. I vacuumed the floor.
You're the one who did the task.
Right. I said, well, did you manufacture the parts? Did you assemble it? Did you drive it from the manufacturing place to the retail? Did you sell it to yourself? Did you wire the outlet? Did you wire your entire house? Are you responsible for all the energy coming to your house? And they're like, no. I said, so what did you do? They said, well, I pushed it back and forth. I said, yeah, you have some responsibility for that, but not 100%. All of these other people participated as well. So the creation process happened without them knowing. They did their part, and you're always going to have to do your part to create what you want in your life. But the majority of it is happening out there, whether you know it or not. But most people don't see it, and they can't touch it or taste it or smell it. So they go, oh, it's not happening. And the universe is like, okay, well, then we're not going to create it for you. But if you know that it's happening even in this space, where there's space in between the actions that you take, then it's still going to happen for you. And it's not going to you don't need to be taking actions 24/7, 365 to create what you want. It's not about effort. Because if it was, Elon Musk and those guys would have to be 1 billion times more effort.
Right.
So what is it? It's about staying in alignment. And if you're taking actions that you are resisting, you are not in alignment. One of the things you mentioned, Tarek, brilliant guy, salt of the earth. I mean, guy cares so much.
He does.
When we were at his summer school program a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about all the different ways to deal find. You can cold call, you can door knock, you can do mailers, you can do this, you can do that. There's so many ways to find deals. And Tarek always says, find two, right? Find two that work for you. He never says, do these things, and if you hate doing them, continue doing them when you hate. That's out of alignment. That's grind culture, right? You got to find the things that work for you. What everybody wants, I find, and I'm sorry I'm getting passionate about this.
I love it.
But what I find is everybody's like, just tell me what to do, show me what to do. It's never going to work for you. You got to find what works for you. Right. Trying to find somebody else's strategy and implement it in a completely different environment, you're not going to produce the same results. So you've got to, when I talk about getting out of reaction, when you get out of reaction and you know what you want, you're going to get inspired actions. And when you take those actions, you're going to start moving towards what it is that you desire.
That's fantastic.
There's no accident why I'm here. Why I'm here, I don't know. You asked me, I said yes. It was an opportunity. It was an alignment. I said yes, and we'll see what comes of this. But that's playing in the unknown. That's going where it takes you and watching it unfold in whatever, in the splendor that it's going to be. So that's what I help my clients with, is really helping them get out of their own way, stop looking for answers in the external, start finding it within them, get them out of reaction so they can find joy and peace and happiness in the moment, because that's the only time that you're ever going to find it. I remember Tony Robbins, he was working with some people, and he said, if you aren't happy right in this moment, you're never going to be happy. And I went, what are you talking about? Well, yeah, if you're in reaction right now, or if you've got all this stuff going on in your head right now where you can't be happy in this moment, there's never going to be a time and place where it's all going to work out for you. You're the one in control of it, and you've got to take control of that. And helping people with that to find joy and happiness and gratitude or love or whatever it is that they want, just to be able to be happy in any given moment is it's an amazing thing to be a part of and help them with. So
Gary Vee one time.
Love Gary Vee.
He's awesome. He had a quick little short on Instagram, and he says, if you're doing something right now that you don't enjoy doing, stop doing it.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's so simple, but it was like mind blowing.
And there's a lot of people out there right now that are probably saying, well, I can't stop what I'm doing, Joe and Jason. How am I going to pay my bills? I get it. But you've got to stop reacting to it and start thinking about what you can create and allow that to take place. It's going to take a minute for it to create for you, to manifest, whatever you want, however you want to talk about that. It's not going to happen overnight. But yes, you've got to stop with the, okay, I'm done with this, right? You've got to say, I'm done. Even if you can't stop in that moment, you've got to make that, almost that declaration. You got to decide in that moment, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to find something different. And I get it. In today's day and age, we need money to continue to live. And if you don't have the runway to just walk away from what you're doing, then by all means, don't.
Right.
But know that you can change anything.
You can change anything.
30, 60, 90 days, 365 days, your life can be completely different.
Perfect example. 2020 COVID.
Right.
We're going through a major transition in our lives, right? There was something missing in my life, so I just said, I need to change, and I made that change, and I took the leap, and and here we are today, right? I quit my W-2 job in May of this year.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And it wasn't because I didn't love the job. It is a relationship job, which I'm really good at relationships, but it wasn't something that I was passionate about. And so I needed to find something that I was passionate about. And so the first thing that I do is start to educate. I educate myself, understand it, create a process behind it, and then move forward. Very early on with the program the mastermind that I signed up with, which you're also a part of, they were like, put as many lines in the water as you possibly can. And I did that, but there was things that I was doing that wasn't really clicking with me. I ended up deciding to use my real estate license to help me find deals, and that's when things started clicking.
Yeah.
And so I just put all my eggs in that one basket and started doing it, and growth happened.
You had to be authentic to you.
I had to be authentic to me.
Right. So that's the bottom line is, people should educate themselves. They should explore whatever it is, but they've got to find within themselves. But one of the other challenges is, if people were honest with themselves, they really don't believe in themselves. And they, one of the two, biggest fears that people have is, one, the fear that they're not enough. And if they're not enough, they won't be worthy of love, because that's what we're all just basically after. But the fear that we're not enough, when you start to take that in and you realize that everybody has it, you can see people walking around, and some people have some big effing signs on their foreheads that read, I don't think I'm enough. And that is what really gets in their own way of executing on anything in their lives. But yeah, so they're out there, they don't think they're enough. So they're like, Joe, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And you're like, well, this is what I did. And they try it, but it doesn't work for them because they're not you.
Right.
And so people have got to find, okay, if you're called to, music or business or real estate or whatever it is, go and get your education, start to understand what it is, but then do it the way that resonates with you.
Yes.
Because you're not gonna produce the results that you want trying to be, Jason or Joe or anybody else.
Or
you
Tarek.
gotta, what's that?
Or Tarek.
Or Tarek.
Or Michael.
Right.
Or whoever it is, right?
You gotta be you.
Take a little bit of what they give you.
Yes.
And then apply it to yourself.
100%.
Yeah. That's awesome. So meditation or no meditation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, and this is true for most teachers in the space, is they teach until they get to their next level, and then they teach their next level. And for me, meditation was always, the purpose of meditation was to help you slow down your mind.
Yeah.
Right. And I loved it. Right. And for me, it's very difficult for me to meditate to begin with, because my mind used to go, 1,000 miles an hour. There's a great movie, I think it was from the early 2000s or the 90s, called Accepted, where this guy creates a fake university, and one of the kids there is like hyperactive, and he goes to a meditation thing, and he lays down for 2 seconds and gets up. He's like, I'm good, right? And that was like me. I try to meditate, like after 5 seconds, I'm like, okay, that was awesome. Okay, what are we on to next, right?
Did I get it though?
But the first thing that I love about meditation is it helps you, slow down your mind to the place where you can observe your thoughts, where you're no longer trapped by your mind, but you can see your mind actually working, so you can go, oh, that's an interesting thought. I'll let that one just go by. But as I've progressed in my life, what I'm really finding now is that what I love about meditation is it helps me create stillness or certainty in space, which, if we circle back to when I talked about the creation process, does not produce actions for a person 24/7, 365. There's space. And what do most people do in that space is they freak out, or they go and they're like, I need to take action, or they worry or doubt, or they go and scroll, or whatever the case may be. And the power of meditation, after I was able to slow down my mind and get to that place, was the ability to then stay still in space and know that the, creation's still working for me, even though I'm not doing anything. Oh, there's space. I have time right now. Well, let me go enjoy my life, because I know, tomorrow, later today, an opportunity is going to show up, or an action that I'm going to need to take is going to take. And I might be busy for 3, 4, 5, 10 days, 12 days, a month straight. And then I'm going to have more space. But most people freak out in the space. And meditation is a great way to help you remain calm when things aren't happening as fast as you think that they should. Well, who are we to decide what that is? And that's a whole different conversation. Yes. But back to meditation, absolutely. There's lots of great apps out there. There's one that a great meditation one called Pizz, P-Z-I-Z-Z, changed my sleeping habits. That helped me sleep. But the one that I'm using today is Headspace.
Okay.
It was given to me because they have minimal, 5-minute beginner meditations. And when I sit here and tell you that's all I could do, that's all I could do. I could barely get through 5 minutes. Now I can easily get through about a 20, 25, 30-minute meditation if I desire. But in the beginning, 5 minutes felt like it was 5 years.
Yeah.
Because my brain used to just go a mile a minute.
Yeah, I started meditating about a year and a half ago, and you're right. It was like I couldn't even get through a minute, right, let alone 20 minutes. But it started with a 15-minute morning meditation, and then over time it progressed, and now I can actually sit for an hour.
Oh, that's fantastic!
And it's really you really get into some deep. I call it the quantum, because I've been training with Dr. Joe Dispenza. So,
okay, fantastic.
I really get into the deep quantum and just start visualizing and, just really seeing the clear picture. And I think it's so super important to have that meditation every single day, whether it be in the morning, in the middle of the day, in the evening, however you do it. Meditation is going to help you grow and get to where you want to go.
Yeah, to add on to that, what meditation is so good for is to help us get out of reaction.
Yep.
Right? When I couldn't stop my mind, I was looping the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and it just was creating anxiety or stress, or would get me depressed or whatever it was, because when it's going again and you can't stop it, right? Mm-hmm. And it just takes over. So, it's awesome that your practice is to there. If we've got people listening who, have never meditated, in their, 5 minutes twice a week is great to begin with, right?
Yep.
Do whatever you can for as long as you can. And lots of times people put the whole perfectionism on themselves. They're like, well, if I can't do 20 minutes a day every day, right, then what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's the anti-point, right?
Yeah.
The point is to do as much as you can, as often as you can, and you'll start to see the results over time.
Yeah.
Because everybody starts at a different place, but anybody can create anything.
Anybody can create anything. That's
Right,
amazing, Jason. Thank you for being so honest and transparent. That's really helpful to, I think, our audience who's watching this show, because that's what we aim to do with this show is your circumstances today isn't the end. You can you can create anything if you just put your mind to it and basically take the action steps to get to that point.
Absolutely.
So
and the other piece is you don't need to know the action steps today.
Nope.
Right? You just need to connect with what it is that you want, and you're gonna begin to understand that the path is gonna be revealed to you.
Yep.
If that's please hear me when I say that. You don't need to know. If you think you need to know, you're only holding yourself back. Just connect with what you want and allow it to show up for yourself, because it will. You'll either be inspired to take particular actions, which you will think, how does this have any relation to anything? I could tell you countless stories about that, but also opportunities are just going to show up for you that you're going to be like, I can't believe that this is happening. Believe it. It will happen. You can create anything. Anything's possible. Yeah.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Jason, for coming on today. I really appreciate you coming out.
We have to do this again.
Here. We will do it again. We definitely want to bring back our co-hosts, because I feel we're just barely scratching the surface with our relationship personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you liked what you saw here today, please subscribe and hit the little bell button. And where can we actually find you on social media or any of the other platforms?
I don't really have a lot of that going on. I've been blessed to build my business by referral and word of mouth. So
okay, good.
I'll be building that out, and I'll let you know when it gets there.
We're definitely going to tag you in this show.
Okay.
And whatever sites you are on, I'll definitely forward that over to you so you
Perfect.
can start building it for your own blogs and things like that. But thank you for joining us again. We're actually on the Inspired Show at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So please give us a follow and subscribe. So until the next time, be inspired.